got that version as well, so that will be helpful. Okay, so I'm going ahead. Okay, so first thing, today is experiencing the smart home, all right? Okay, so what is the smart home? So basically, so previously we used to say automation, integration, so all those things actually nowadays that becomes more common term for everyone, like even a CCTV guy or a security person, so everyone actually talks about automation and integrating the things, okay? Right, so how do we differentiate ourselves from this? So that is what this session is all about basically, right? Okay, so when it comes to smart home and the integration part, the main thing is how do we integrate and how do we communicate with the devices, whatever I wanted to integrate or I wanted to talk to the device, I want to get the feedback. Right. So the first thing is, so what happened is in olden days, so you had very few devices, but everyone wanted to interoperability. So what they did actually, so they invented a different way. So that becomes actually the another way to integrate with the device. So that becomes, so in olden days, it becomes very easy. But nowadays, if you see, so you'll have lot many standards, lot many protocols, lot many APKs, lot many APIs to integrate, and lot many better ways to integrate. And it is not everyone has the same way of easy integration. So it becomes kind of tough for the people to manage basically. So that's where actually control 4 comes in. So yes, I'll try to slow myself. I think someone is feedbacking me to slow it down. Okay, so what will be true? So what will be in our smart home industry that will be always there? One thing is you will have more and more device to integrate, and you will have more devices connected, more devices on IoT platform, and all these devices nowadays will be having AI. You will have a lot of intelligent based devices basically. So you'll have more way to integrate and more intelligent than a normal integration what we do today or maybe yesterday what we did. Right, so you'll have more and more device to talk to nowadays. So nowadays, if you buy anything, it becomes an IoT enabled, and it is connected. So it is already on the field for us to communicate. Right. So just considering a smart home, maybe a basic residential solution. Right. So to start with, so if I take a home, so basically you'll have more devices. First thing is your network. So previously, if you see, you will not have much device to integrate on IP. So we'll talk about IR, RS-232 connectivity on other options. But now if you see any devices, it becomes IoT enabled. So we always say if you are an automation guy, it is actually the best time for you to start about and learn about networking as well. Because if it is poorly designed network, your design will not actually work. So whatever the hardware you put in, whatever the automation solution you are putting in, whatever the interface you are putting in, it all actually depends on your network. So that becomes more reliable nowadays. It has to become as well. And other than that, you'll have CCTV solutions or maybe IP cameras, NVRs. So these all becomes IP nowadays. So and on top of it, you have integrating with the environment. You will have integrating with your audio video devices, lights, temperature control, blinds, audio video capabilities, more device to integrate. And of course, we integrate with the community and how do we operate. So how does it becomes more easy, which means how do I simply talk to each and every devices throughout. So this is all actually the smart home connected residential solution capabilities what we have opened for, right? So for each and every solutions like flexible, it has to be feature proof and it has to be get to work on easy. So as a homeowner, so what really they wanted, so they wanted, which means easy and quality of life, and it has to be sustainable and green solution. And of course, it has to be safe and secure for anyone to control. And integrating with everything. So how do I get integrated with community platforms
ओके
and
बीमारी
the
भी तो
best
तेरे
solutions
साथ
for
फैल गई
integrating
है
the homes,
पति ने फोन में लगे हुए हैं
right? Okay, so how do we offer the solutions? How we are actually going to tackle all this platform what we have? So just for example, so I'm just giving an example of old integration solutions like when you have a controller, which means a control 4 platform, so you'll have more and more devices which can be talked, right? So like your audio video solutions, your lightings, or maybe your energy monitorings, or maybe your thermostats, your logs, and maybe your consumer electronics like gaming console, TV, etc. So, and also intercom to communicate. So you'll have more and more devices which in a home. So already it is all smart enough to talk to your platform. So the only thing is how do we get it into the single platform? So that's where we are actually helping out our community. Right. So what we really wanted, so the flexible control, so where I can monitor and control my home all devices, and it should be automated control. So it should be energy efficient. I should have the personalization for my home and access it from anywhere, wherever I want it, and it has to be secure and connected, and also it has to be community integration. So that's what actually, so everything is actually we are looking for. Okay, so just an example, so how the integration, which means how the connected home environment has initially started. So the first to start with, right? Okay, so initially, so you'll have very less number of devices, right? So then when the days are going on, so if you see last 10 years, you have more and more IoT devices, not even 10 years, it's maybe 5 to 6 years. So you'll have more and more devices to connect on the IoT platform. But the problem is each and every IoT devices have their own way of control and own way of integration. So how do we take it into a single platform or maybe a single app which is controlling everything together? So that's where we actually filling a gap actually. So that's where we are coming into a platform or maybe a company to help out. So how do we get everything into the single platform? So that's what we actually wanted. Right. So of course, when you talk about the control four, we say four main pillars. So one is your audio and video. So and the next one is your lighting, and of course your then comfort and convenience like your thermostat, blinds, and then your security, your door locks, cameras, and sensors, and then on top of it, the controls. So when we see in generally, so these are actually the independent devices, or maybe the independent island we call it as. So you will have the audio video devices, you will have the lighting solutions, and then of course you have the blinds and curtains. So everything nowadays has IoT enabled. But the thing is, how do I get into the single platform? So that's where we are actually filling up the gaps. So the control. So in generally, if I see of the talk to the control, so the problem is they'll have their own remote, they'll have their own app, so they'll have their own way of integration. So integrating between this into the platform is where Control 4 is actually helping out. Okay, so that's what the Control 4 solutions we offer. Okay, so definitely I'm not going to talk about the products for today. So we'll have that separate session on the products. Okay, so our platform, which means which can integrate with your entertainment solutions or maybe your security, your lighting, and your comfort interfaces. But on top of it, you'll have a single interface, like maybe your mobile app, or maybe a Control 4 remote, or maybe a iPad or a tab, so any of the user interface you can use it, or
Yeah.
maybe even a single keypad which can control the entire
We
ecosystem.
are
So
at.
that's what we wanted actually. Right. So coming to the smart home experience, so one is your lifestyle solutions like lighting and the temperature control, and of course your entertainment, home theater, audio, and then your green energy management. Definitely we are helping on that, and then your community integration, and then on top of it your security solutions. At last, your connectivity, which means connecting between each and every platform. So that's what we wanted to help out our entire community together. Right.
Yeah.
So how Control 4 is filling up this gap and how we are entering into this or how we are tackling this. The first one is uh, the better OS and the hardware. So most of the times when it comes to home automation or the smart home solutions, you will have a lot of hardwares which can communicate to any device. But the problem is how feasible it is and how easy it is to integrate with all those devices. So that's where we are filling up that gap. So we have the industry-based hardware, and then on top of it, the great OS, which we call it as a smart home OS, which can integrate, and it should be easy for your integration purpose as well. So which means even the dealers or customers should not be feeling a pain when it comes to the home automation. And build and sell industry leading infrastructure and the interaction devices, not only about the automation products and along with what all the great things which can go along with it, maybe your audio video solutions or your cabling solutions or your infrastructure solutions. So racks, whatever it can. And at last, actually, we wanted to sell it through a professional certified dealers or maybe the certified integrators, whatever the terms we call it in our region, right? So that's what our approach it has to be. So, and that's what we wanted to be actually, right? So control for operating purpose. So we create a beautiful solution that enhance your personalization experience on top of it. So when it comes to automation, so always we say controller, which means your controller or the controller is the heart of the system. So which means the platform which can integrate with all the third-party devices. But the main thing is your network. Okay, so the problem is nobody talks about the networking when it comes to home automation. So because I'll put the system and I'll integrate it, when I come back, so your customer will say that your automation system is not working. So he'll not talk about the networking because he does not go back and see what is there in the networking, but he sees is control for app. So which means he can know what is the problem he is facing. So that is what he's selling, that he's always say that my control for system is not working, right? Okay, so to solve this purpose, the main thing is your home network. So we always say if you are integration, if you're a home automation company, so that is actually, this is actually the initial time which you can actually explore the networking also to be considered as a main integration purpose. If you're not talking about or if you're not knowing about the networking, so definitely you will be going into a backwards, which means you will not be dealing most of the cases. Okay, because you'll have more and more devices on the network. So it is not only very few. So you'll have more and more devices going to be talking to the same platform. So you're going to add the bandwidth, you're going to add the network traffic. So, but how do you tackle it? So it is not the same way when I put the controller and connect all the systems, it has to work. Okay, so it all depends on your network. So that's what we always say, your home network also to be very much important for any automation. And next comes your integration platform. So what is the hardware we are putting in as a controller, or what is the way we are talking with each and everything, and how do we personalize, which means how what all the experience your user or maybe a dealer gets, and how it is easy to configure and how it is easy to connect the system. So that's what main important is when it comes to a home automation platform. Okay. So once you have your platform, which is standard and which is finalized, which means which is rock solid platform, of course, then you have your integration pillars, which means your audio video devices, or maybe your lighting devices, or maybe your comfort and convenience like thermostat, blinds, or maybe your sprinklers, fountains, and then of course your security and safety, like your locks, sensors, cameras. So everything we can actually bring it on the single platform, right? So then on top of it, of course, you will have the experience, which means the user interface, like a single app which can control, or maybe a mobile device, or maybe nowadays it's more common to use a voice control. So whether it is a voice control or any of the integrating platform or any of the interfaces which can be talked to this platform. Right. So coming to Control 4, of course, we started in 2003, and so we are in India. Actually, we started in 2013. So even before, actually, we had the distributor office who is actually doing Control 4 distribution for us quite for some time. So then actually we wanted to do go direct into the Control 4 into the market. So we started here in 2013. Actually, that is the same time actually Control 4 also went to the public company. And then, of course, on 2019, we merged with another big giant, which is a Snap AV, we call it as. Okay, we will talk about Snap AV in a bit time. Okay, so, and our approach is mainly on the home segment. So, of course, we do few commercial and hospitality projects. Almost 99% to 98%, we mainly focus on the home. And and of course, the OS and the software development, it's all actually mainly focused, which means, of course, the 98%, which is focused mainly on the control, which means on the home side, home platform side. And at present, we are running more than about 5 lakh plus homes, which was actually the earlier year data. And the another advantage with Control 4 is we have opened something called STDP protocol, which means Simple Device Discovery Integration. So that actually helps you integrate with most of the widely used products with just using a STDP protocol. So which means you just need to discover the device in the network and you just double click it. So you are getting added into the Control 4 platform. So we can actually integrate directly with about 15,000 plus products. The count is still going on actually. So, and even we are actually getting few of the products which with the Control 4 integrated logo as well. So that's actually a best thing what any integration or maybe any automation company which really they wanted. And next thing is we are actually operating about 11,000 plus dealers worldwide. So we have serving about 108 plus countries. So as headquartered in Salt Lake City, and we do have the training facilities around the world. So we have facilities in UK, US, and Germany, and China, Australia, and in India. So we do a 5 days training program for any new dealers or the new integrators. So it'll be a 5 day course where it'll give you actual hands-on on the products and where you will learn about the software, and we'll do the hands-on on each and everything. So to learn and experience the possibilities of Control 4 and what and all you can integrate with Control 4. So that's a great thing when we talk about the training facilities actually. So most of our dealers appreciated that. So we used to get a hands-on for practicing ourselves. So instead of going and seeing something like, so I had attended a training, but I don't know how to integrate something. So then it becomes more tough when you do the actual site. Okay, so and of course, industry award recognition. So actually, this is actually CE Pro, which is widely popular survey in US market. So we are actually number one in 2018, 17, of course, for consecutive last 4 or 5 years, basically, mainly on the home segments, basically. Okay, so how do we differentiate from maybe if anyone have a question about whether DIY stuffs will work or merge with Control 4, or whether it will get override by your automation solution, or whether it will get override your professional solutions? The answer is definitely no. But of course, your DIY stuffs will have more numbers in going further. Maybe in next 2 years, you will have even more devices which can be talked to IP, but again it will be a independent stuff. Okay, so that won't actually have an integrated platform where anyone can integrate like what we do. And the next thing is like a managed service where they'll come and install system, but they'll charge you subscriptions, like monthly subscription, whether it gonna override your professional automation solutions. But this is actually a market which really teaches about the automation. So we are very much happy about it because it will give you more potential to understand what is the automation is. And it will also will give you a more easy way to talk to a customer. Because if a person know about DIY or if a person know about the managed services, if you talk to him about the automation solution, so this and all you can do, it will be very much easy for you to convince him, or it will be very much easy for him to you to say him what you actually wanted to do. Okay, so of course, our integrated platform and integration and the personalization platform, which gonna see more numbers, it gonna see more growth, and definitely this will be handled only by the professionals and system integrators or the dealers like professionals like you, and it won't be like a DIY stuffs anywhere. And this demand also going to increase more and more because you will have more IoT devices so that it becomes more demand for anybody to have an automation solution, which means a smart home solution. Right. So when it comes to market opportunities, so what all we have, so as a customer, so we have a range of customers from ages 35 to 55 and families with the children and college educated and strong income. This is actually the potential opportunity for anybody to actually capture for home segments in generally. Okay, so and when it comes to this is actually the survey on US. So how what are the people's actually looking for the automation? But when it comes to our regions or maybe the international regions, the opportunity is even more and the opportunity is even bigger for the automation. Right. So some of the interesting facts about the Control 4. So as I told you, so we are number one in home automation categories for consequence about 4-5 years basically. and we got it about 6 hours for a better smart home, like audio, video, and integration, and also the security integration and lighting integration. So a lot many other things as well. And so again, so every week there is about like a 1,500 installation which is happening. So there is about so more than 7,000 plus dealers, and about lot many integration devices and more technicians. And the integrations, when it becomes more number and more demanding, so what are the easiest way to integrate with the devices? That becomes more like an island. So always I cannot actually go with a laptop and do the programming. So as an initiative, what Control 4 has done is, so we have launched something called Composer Express, where a dealer can actually use their mobile phone to do a basic programming, maybe do a basic lighting solutions, or maybe do a living, maybe a single room automation. So you can just like open the app, add the devices, just do the basic connections. You are done. You are done with the basic programming. So that can be done without opening your laptop. So just from your mobile itself. And it becomes more user friendly nowadays. Like most of the dealers started using it, and even some of the dealers were using that tool to actually check whether the controller of my customer is online or offline. So it becomes like, because I'm on my road, so somebody calls me and says that, can you connect and check something? So I really don't have to open my laptop on my travel. So I just open my mobile app and I can connect to the system, and I can do a basic connection on the testing whatever I wanted from my mobile app itself. Right. Okay. So the more and more opportunities for us. So what are the opportunities we have? Like more individuals and families are connected. So when they have the time, so they wanted to enjoy the experience, which means like they wanted to watch a movie or they wanted to have the experience of movie. So they really now people started like, so I wanted to have the time with the family. So can you do something in the home itself? So they really like, it's very rare that people like, I wanted to see something going out and seeing it. So because they have time, so they want to have it with the family. So you'll have more opportunities and more connected devices in a home, and it can be, it needs integration by basically itself, because I cannot always roam around with the 10 remotes and 6 remotes everywhere together, right? And also the existing homes and existing opportunities also changing, like they want to, because I cannot actually go with the same old way as what I am doing. So there is lot many things which is changing. So I wanted to adapt it to it, right? So and you will have more and more orchestrated homes, which means planned and automation designed homes. So that will be there for sure. The numbers are seeing more, much increased. And of course, everyone needs for a robust and smartest networking. So it becomes more demanding nowadays. Other than that, uh, more like our common networking. And of course, the professional integration. So not that I just put the device and it just works. So I wanted to do a professional integration for each and every devices. So that's really a more demand actually. Right. Okay. So at last, so what is the base, which means what is the collective opportunity we have in front of us? The one is your existing homes, and of course new housing, and the current customers expansion and the update and the upgrade solutions. Okay, and we do have options for all the things can be tackled from our side. And okay, so when it comes to lifestyle of the Control 4 experience, the one thing is your automation is always like any home automation is always like a never ending opportunity, because today I got one device and tomorrow I got another device. Just an example, if I got a TV with 4K today, so then tomorrow I'll have a 4K OLED, and which means you HDR support, you have more resolutions than what I have now. So then of course I'll be changing it, right? So you have more opportunity, and we have the wide range of solutions starting from your basic single room automation to the whole home, which means where you can integrate the entire whole platform. Right. So coming to after the company introduction, of course, the purpose of our class, what is the smart home? So how we can help make the smart home better, right? So to start with, so this is actually our today's agenda. It's gonna be like, one is what is the platform, what is the control for, and what is the interface I have to control. I have to control each and everything. And then of course your lighting integration and the smart comfort and convenience, and then peace of mind. On top of it, networking and the entertainment solutions. right? So jumping into the platform. Okay, so as I said, so Control 4 is mainly focused on home segment. So as a OS which is built as a smart home OS itself, and what is the best thing which can actually do? So which it will delight your whole home, which connects with entire everything and unifies elegant, simple customer experience, and make smart home accessories better and design, which means designed to protect by default, and great tools for professionals, so where they can go and do the installation at simple, which means a easy time. All right. Okay, so a small introduction about the user interface of Control 4. So we always say it is a one of the best industry, which means a home design for any home. And moreover, this is not actually a UI which you need to customize to do certain things. Okay, so you just do the basic connections on your Control 4 platform. So the UI actually populates by itself. And so just as an example, so you can navigate between the rooms and you can go into the basic controls, whatever you wanted, like maybe a thermostat or maybe a pull control or any of the home integration devices. And it is actually, we call it as an intuitive, which means a sleek and fluid design interface for any of the integrators. And each and every integration makes it more simple. Or maybe a single room or maybe a whole home. And when it comes to the user interface, the main thing is your user interface, the front page, what you see, the devices icons, right? So when I see the device icons, I'll always like whether I can do customization or whether I can change these things. We always say the icons, whatever you have, it can be customized, but there is a different way to do it. And the other thing is each and every icons here is actually the actual feedback. For example, if it says the light is glowing, it will actually show the lighting glowing status. And also if the light is turned off for the particular room, so it will actually show as a turned off, which means just I can just navigate to the room and I can see what all my active devices, and also I can see whether my device is on or off from the home screen itself. So I really don't have to go into each and every thing and I can actually monitor. And also we do actually have something called active filters, maybe for like securities and other things. I can just go into securities and I can select locks and sensors, and it'll show what all the active devices, whether the doors are closed or whether the contacts are closed or whether my system is armed. So I can just monitor from the single page. So this will give you like a users easy and good feel when they actually integrate with any of the home automation solutions. Like I really don't have to go into each and every in deep and check whether the things are working or whether the things is turned off or whether I need to turn it off. Okay, so here you will have more easy and easy user friendly options basically, right? And also we are actually giving something called customer facing interface. So what is this customer facing interface? For example, so I can go into any of the UI, any of the icons, active icons. I can just go in and I can press and hold. It'll give me option to make it into, it can actually, it can give you option to favorite into the main page, so that every time you really don't have to go into each and every options. And of course, you still have a standard home menu where you can control the entire home also together. So that's about the OS and the user interface, what you actually have. And the next thing is orchestration. So how do I'll have the things which means organized, which means actually have the simplify the way of integration. Because most of the times when we talk about the integration or when we talk about the smart home solutions, the first thing comes to the customer is, will it going to be a complicated one, or will I be living my old traditional way? Of course he's gonna live the old traditional way, so but he's using that for almost 40-50 years, so we need to actually educate them. So what is the easy of the way he's actually gonna get it? And so that's where this orchestration gonna help. So you're gonna tell them, so this is what I'm gonna install it, so this is how it gonna be managed, which means it'll be simplify your way of integrating and the simplify your way of control. So this is gonna be giving you easy uh, and great interface for the integration, right? And how do I integrate with all my brands which I love? So I cannot actually change anybody to change the Sony TV. integrate into certain platform, right? So how do I integrate with any of the brands which I love? So of course we do have that HTTP drivers what we are talking about. Other than that, we do develop the customized drivers as well on the request. Like for if the project is real, the driver is really worth for us to integrate, and we do actually develop the drivers and help the integrators as well. And we have done few of the drivers works for specifically to the Indian market. Of course, I'm going to talk about that bit later. And the next thing is uh, for the customer personalization. So the main thing is, small example, I did a scheduler, it was working fine. Then your customer says that, can you adjust the time? Then what it becomes, so you need to log in into from your Composer Pro and you need to change it. So what is the option if I give that option to a customer itself? So whether he can do a small modifications or the basic things by himself, and he can actually do that. So that is where we have introduced something called when and then. Okay, so it is like user-based programming. Definitely, it's not going to actually delete or change any of the settings as a system integrators or the dealer does by themselves. But of course, they can do a basic request or basic change or the basic fix to the programming, whatever you are actually done. And definitely, it's like user gonna, maybe a customer gonna love it. So because it is as easy as that, like when sunsets turn on my light, so it is easy for him to it'll be very much easy for him to manage basically. So it's actually a great thing tool. And we do had a different tool earlier. So most of our dealers say that it is more like a dealer tool to give it to a customer. Can we have something, a better option, or maybe a manage easy option for our customers? So that's where we had done this when and then. So of course, few of our customers are using it. Even the dealers are also saying that this is actually the best tool to do a basic customization. And even can customer can request the dealer for any changes, modification from this tool itself. And this is pretty much easy tool for anyone to do a basic changes from the programming what you have done, or maybe a basic changes, or maybe basic add-ons. You can do it maybe like a when I press off a keypad, I want to control some set of actions. He can actually do it by himself. So that's my platform, and then of course the interface. So interact with your home. So this is what the main thing what we normally see. So we do have something called designing the home experience. Okay, so what it means, definitely you will have thousands of hardwares and everything which is going to be in the place, but your customer is not going to see each and everything on daily routines. But definitely is going to see his interface daily, right? So I'm going to use my mobile app, or I'm going to use my touch screen, or maybe a keypad. So whatever we are actually putting into the place, right? So of course, we say it as an intuitive control, so where you can actually monitor from the single page of the interface, and it's all going to be unique, which means which can be adjusted and modified. Your user interface going to be same for your mobile, or maybe your iPad, or maybe your on screen, which means on your TV. So any of the app, whatever you are actually using it. And of course, as I told you, so the interface will not have much difference. So this is your touchscreen interface, and this is your mobile app. And of course, you can control your home from anywhere. So just you need a internet, or maybe you just need the internet on your phone, so you can connect it to your home from anywhere, and you can monitor the lock status, lights, everything from the app itself. And the latest addition to the Control 4 platform, so which is actually a handheld touchscreen remote, so which was actually a original Neo remote, which is been acquired by Control 4, so where the user can control their entire home from the remote itself. And the beauty of this device is, and it don't even need a dealer to visit a site to configure this remote. So it can be a customer faced device. Customer can configure by themselves. Nothing is needed. They just need to connect it to the network, and they are done. Actually, they are connected to the home. And so it'll give you the entire home options, which means on your on-screen navigator, what is the same. So the same thing can be seen from your remote itself. And this is actually the first device in Control 4 line. So we have launched this way to do a configuration basically. So which means previously we always need to add the devices and configure and give it to the customer. So this is actually kind of, because it's more like a pride what I have for my user interface control. So like so it is easy for you connecting to your system by yourself, and even the firmware update everything it happens on by itself. So it's more like a kind of customer device, the what we have actually launched in. And of course, so everyone likes and loves voice control. Even so, just as an example, even in my home, so initially when we was buying this Alexa, I was like whether I'll be using it much or whether I'll be using it this user interface more familiarly. But nowadays it becomes like every day minimum I used to say 10 or 15 comments. Like it, I don't even like bother to go to a keypad and say something. So it works very much well. And when it comes to voice control and other things, of course, your privacy is very much important, and we do all our drivers, which is we call it as a smart home privacy guard, where you can enable your privacy. So if you enable your privacy, whatever the commands you are saying to your Alexa, that will directly go to control 4 and it'll come back to your home. If you disable it, of course there is a chances maybe your Alexa or Google can record what you are actually speaking. So and we have actually probably launched this very much earlier than others basically. So we just wanted to do something which can be useful for the customers, and customers should not be like worried whether my data will be read or whether it is secured or whether it is privacy enabled. So that is pretty much important for us as a company or maybe a manufacturer. So we always have these drivers which is all actually have the smart home privacy guard, and so that once you enable it, definitely so your voice commands whatever you are speaking to control for is secured. So that's what it's about. And that is the same reason actually we are actually adding up. So at present we work with Amazon Alexa devices and of course your Google devices, and we are working very closely with Apple, so we are expecting something to happen very soon. But of course there are a lot of things happening within the Apple which can do restrictions on a bit. And lighting, so definitely so lighting is one of the important aspect in any smart home solutions, right? So nobody does only audio video control, or nobody just do basic control except the lighting. When I talk about smart home, so they always talk about lighting, so which means the scenes creations. Maybe when I enter the home I wanted to do my room brighter, or maybe when it is a dinner time I wanted to have my mood set to like whatever the lighting percentage I wanted. So that actually one of the main part for any smart home solution. So lighting is become a more aspect of that basically. Right. So, and of course, we do have a lot of options and which can be integrated with Control 4, and we do have a third-party integration solutions like any most of the widely used brands like KNX, etc., all those things. Right. So, and even we do have something called occupancy. So the beauty about this occupancy is, for example, I'm not in a home, but I really cannot do a scheduler like every day it turns on, turns off. But anybody can know that, so it is happening on the scheduler. But occupancy is something like it actually monitor your daily routine. So whatever I'm doing, like for 7 days, and then of course I can call that 7 days, which means repeatedly. So it'll be like Monday to Sunday means again it's gonna be the same Monday to Sunday. So whatever the lighting scene I pressed, maybe the blinds or the fan control, AC, so whatever I'm operating it, it can actually repeat by itself. So you just need to start the occupancy and then record it. So once it is recorded, you can actually recall the scene. So that's as easy as that. So customer can actually call by themselves. And on the lighting side, so we do have a entire lighting solutions by ourselves. Like we have a wireless solution which is on Zigbee, and we do have a centralized solution which is on wired. So we call it as a centralized, which means similarly like a panelized and other lighting solutions. So we do have full lighting solutions by ourselves, and of course we do have a integration of KNX and other things as well. And one touch control, that's all actually we really needed. So just press off a button, I just wanted to call a scene, so whatever I have actually created. And as I was telling you, so we do have our own KNX products, like so entire KNX range as well in control flow side for the integration. And also we do integrate with third party KNX devices as well. Not only KNX, we do almost most of the devices, right? Most of the widely used like Lutron, Clipsal, etc., etc. And also we have actually developed some of the drivers for some local, which means Indian based brands as well. So right, so the next thing is of course comfort and convenience. So how easy I'm going to control my entire home, like maybe it's a blinds or maybe a pool control or maybe a spa integration, so maybe a climate control. So it's all actually going to have a two-way feedback on each and everything whatever you're controlling. Definitely if your device does not give you two-way feedback, we don't actually do that. We will not be able to do that. And blinds and shades integration. So the beauty of this blinds and shades, actually, again, you can create a groups, like maybe I'll call all the blinds together or whatever it is. And you can actually do that. You can actually integrate it into Control 4 platform. And the last thing is the peace of mind integration. So peace of mind is nothing but a security, what we say is, okay, so security integration, whether it is any security panel which I wanted to integrate and I wanted to have a two-way feedback, of course you can actually do that. Or whether to monitor the lock status, you can actually do that. And for example, maybe if I'm integrating with the AL lock, and we do have a two-way drivers which is developed, where you can actually add the users or add the restrictions, everything from the driver itself. You really don't have to like press the button sequence in a AL lock. I can directly just do it from the driver itself. I just press and hold, it'll give me the option to add the user, and I can grant them the access, and I can give the time limitations, and I can do all those things actually. And in the control for UI itself, you will have something called history. So where I can check when the lock has been opened and who is the last user which has been accessed. So I can have the time recording everything which can be done, which can be seen in from the lock itself. And the video monitoring solutions. Definitely, so we can integrate with most of the security cameras. So like almost we do have our own range of we do have our own range of cameras, and also we do have a third-party integration options which is available, and where I can monitor the entire cameras from the user interface itself. And this is actually live monitoring, and you can monitor whatever which is happen, and you can program a push notification or an email notification of any event you wanted to trigger. You can actually do that. And in some cases you might be using a camera and a motion sensor. Most of your cameras can do the have the built-in sensor by itself, where it can actually change, which means it can detect the changing of your pixels, and I can trigger any home actions I wanted. Maybe if the camera detects something, I can send a notification, or maybe I can turn on light, I can do whatever I wanted. And this can be done with most of the cameras again. So, but most of them, what we never, most of the case, we never do that, because its camera becomes an independent solution, or maybe a CCTV system becomes an independent solution. But you can actually integrate that into your smartphone platform. You can actually make use of like a motion sensor, maybe a tamper actions, or maybe so any of the actions which can be programmed to trigger it. So because I seen in a few of the cases actually where a dealer, where a system integrator or maybe a customer will have a camera on top, below that they'll have the motion sensor, right? So it does not make any sense, right? So your camera itself can act as a motion sensor. So why do I need a motion sensor separately? Right. So we can integrate with almost most of the cameras and other things. And we do have our own intercom solutions where you can call from door station to the touch screens, or door station to the mobile phone, and touch screen to the mobile phone. It's all actually two-way integration. So you really don't need a separate like home app to call something, or maybe intercom app. So I can call it from my touchscreen to control for app, and I can actually see who is calling, and I can like integrate, like open the door, turn on lights. I can do a full way integration. Maybe for example, if I press the doorbell, so I can see it from my phone and I can unlock the door. Maybe if some of my guests came, I wanted to give them the access. You can actually give them the access in general. So from your control for app itself, and this can work anywhere. So that's how it is. And all you need is internet again. And apart from the basic communities, of course, we can integrate with entertainment solution as well. So the beauty of the Control 4 is Control 4 do native audio streaming by itself. So you really don't have to have a separate audio video, which means separate audio streaming services. Like I can do tune in from Control 4, or I can stream the USB from the Control 4, which means from the controller itself. And all the audio, and we are proud to say this, the controller is it all can play in MQA, which means high resolution. So normally most of the automation systems, we are the first one to introduce that high resolution audio in the controllers. So definitely that is one of the great add-on for most of our automation. Yeah, and even we have, in fact, we named our controllers as a entertainment and automation controller, which means we prefer audio also. Most of our dealers actually prefer audio source also can be one of the important aspect for the home segments when it comes to whether it can be a multi-room or a single room solutions. We do all the audio streamings directly from the controller itself, and I can play from NAS, I can play from TuneIn, or you can do some of the third-party streaming services as well. So at present, we are working with few of them, and we do have some of the local Indian versions which has been done on beta trial. So we can actually stream some of the online streaming services, and even you can stream the online radio stations like FMs and other things from the Control 4 itself. And even you can integrate with your Google Drive. Maybe if your Google Drive with most lot of songs, you can play those songs from the Control 4 controller. So we we are actually very much good in these aspects as well when it comes to integration. And of course, we do have our own speaker solutions. We'll talk about this when we talk about the products, definitely. So which can customize your any of our speakers can be customized to fit in your size, length, and the speakers woofer size. Anything can be customized, and your color matching, veneer matching, and your, of course, your grill matching. So everything can be done whatever the aspects you really wanted. So we will talk about this when we talk about the Control 4 speakers, when it maybe we are planning for the future sessions basically. And of course, we do have our entire home theater solutions with integration, or maybe only the speakers or any of the integrations we actually wanted. Um, and of course, the whole home video. So video aspect is more like important stuff in any of the cases, right? And how do we make it simple, neat, and clean? So we do have aspects which can be done in any of the way, like which means HDMI or maybe HD-based T and the MIF solutions, which means media over IP solutions, right? And one thing to add up into the audio video on the controller side. So one thing to add up on the controller audio video side, of course, we do integrate with the we have the share bridge which is built into the controller itself. If I have any of the Apple devices, I can stream directly from the Apple devices to the Control 4 itself, which means I just need to be on the network. That's also I can play from my Apple device and I can connect it to controller itself. Controller can play, and we named it as a share bridge. It is technically an AirPlay driver for controller. That's how it is. And at present, of course, we don't have solutions for Android devices. It is not like we don't have. So it is because of the Google. So because they removed the DLNA and made more like a Chromecast aspects. Of course, at present, the solution is you need to have a Chromecast to stream from the Android devices. And maybe near future, we might be expecting something which can work better into the Control 4 platform. Right. So this almost comprise all your most of the aspects on the automation. All right, so where you can integrate with your entertainment, lighting, comfort, convenience, and the better platform. So where it can actually give you the full integration and the control and more flexibility for programming and maybe the customer user experience and everything together. And the last one is the networking. So as I was saying you, networking is very much important and it is more demanding in any of your homes, and definitely your system will not work in poorly designed network. Okay, and most of your dealers or most of your customers, they say they know networking. It is not actually the networking what they know, right? So there is a lot of aspect into it. So it is because you'll get a router which is for 1,000 rupees and you'll get a router which is for more than that as well, right? So there is an aspect and there is a whole story behind it. Of course, I'm going to talk about it when we talk about the networking. So why it is very much important for any home as a networking. But the one thing I can say is if your network really not working well, your customer will not say a scold it is off network. It will immediately say your automation system is not working. It can be any automation system. It is not only about control for what I'm talking about. All right. So, and I know most of the dealers, right? So in control for supports, we do take a calls mainly about 30 to 40% of the calls on the networking. So we do help dealers on the networking, and most of our any of the competitors, of course, we know few of them also, and most of our dealers also, the dealer technician will go all the way from home to a customer side just to reboot a router or maybe change a switch or maybe the settings, because this is like a critical thing, and customers or maybe others, they'll not actually understand what is actually needed. So you need to educate them what is actually needed, how it has to be done, because you are on the front. So you definitely, so if you are not doing on this, fine, so you will definitely get into a problem in future. Okay, so of course, as I was saying, so we handle more on networking side, also on the support, not only as most of our automation industry does this. Okay, so it is better to have a more networking deep knowledge. And definitely, so we are actually, that is where we have actually acquired this package as a company to control for. And they were actually focused mainly on the home segment. Like, so they have the home segment SL2 switches, SL3 switches, and the access point with the beam forcing technology and lot many things. And also they have a dedicated VLAN configuration for each and every streams. You can prioritize your devices, like which devices need to be taking more bandwidth. For example, my audio video streaming devices should take more bandwidth. My CCTV can be secondary. And the third thing can be like maybe control should be least congested. So you'll have the entire range of control platform which can be integrated, right? So that's where, so we are actually taken into the package. So they have the entire range of the solutions on the performance and the reliability and the hardwares, whatever they have actually developing around, right? So it can be scalable from the any plat, which means as any home to the entire platform. But I am saying, so it is not only we support only the package networks on the field. We do integrate with third party, any of the most of the widely available network brands and the devices as well. So we do help them to integrate into Control 4. And what is the main difference is they are mainly focused on connected home segment. So that is what mainly important and very much important for us as a company or maybe as a solution designer. So and whenever I say Control 4 has won some set of awards on the CE Pro, so this guy is also on the same track, like on the networking side. So that's where they are actually coming into our platform in generally. So it is easy for us to merge and manage them. And other than that, of course, they do have something called Backpack. It is one of a remote management and self-healing tool, and it is very best tool for any of your medium to large case projects, which is mostly IP dependent. Why we say it is more important is more easy is this backpack, it can, through the backpack, I can log in into my entire home, not my home, even the customer home, and I can monitor each and every nodes, every devices. And if I'm putting control for, I can in fact monitor my Zigbee devices status. Before your customer calls and tell you something goes out, something goes wrong, you can actually know that the thing is going out or gone wrong, and you can see what you can do. And another advantage is I can log in into the device. For example, I have a AVR which needs a reboot, or maybe I have an Apple TV, so which I wanted a reboot. So I can actually log in from my backpack, and I can go into the entire home, and I can see what is the device status of each and everything, and I can launch their web page, and I can control the device from their web page by sitting in my remote place. So this is very much needed tool. And of course, at this kind of current scenarios, so if I have a backpack, I can actually, I'll be so busy handling backpacks where I can actually I cannot travel around. So you can do and manage everything from your backpack tool itself. Or maybe if I have the package power distribution unit, so where I can actually, if I have the reboot capability, I can actually reboot it. Because why we can reboot or why it is needed is most of the cases, maybe if I'm having the 100% power, even in for the cases, if it goes, power goes out, comes back, your router or maybe the network switch will take time to reboot. So before that, your maybe the other devices will reboot by itself, which means it will get booted by fast, but that will not actually get the access or that will not get the IP address. then what you're actually doing is you'll be going and rebooting each and every devices manually. Maybe if you have a PDU, power distribution unit, what you can actually do is you can actually delay your reboot process, right? So the best thing is like you can just boot the router first, and then maybe you can boot your networking switch, and then of course you can actually boot up your other subsequent devices. So that makes more easy for any project. Like I can actually have the entire power control, and even if you wanted to reboot something or you want to control, you want to know the status, everything, of course, you can do it from the backpack itself. So that will actually integrate it with the backpack by itself. So this becomes again one of the critical tool on the power management side and also the network configuration side. So that's why this is one of the great tool what we actually have. And this is actually free for all the dealers. So we don't actually charge for the device, charge for the subscriptions or anything on the backpack side. So it is actually free for the entire project if you have the package products, basically. And the connected home experience, as I was telling you earlier, of course. So most of the times you are actually not selling a device. Okay, so a lot of the times you might be saying this, what will be my automation budget? If you are immediately giving the budget, you are actually not working on the solutions. You are just working on the product. So most of you actually, so some of the most of our dealers are the friends. So what they actually do is, so they'll actually work on the solutions. What is solutions and what is products? If you actually see what you can actually do or what you can actually give it to the customers, so that becomes an experience. So that becomes a solution. So based on that experience, actually you need to work on the backwards to the products, and don't actually always select a product and work on the solutions. That will actually always get into your problem. Okay. Most of the times we always say work from solution to the products. So then you will have the better understanding, better products, and you know what you have to do it for your customers. So that will make very much easy, and that will make like so that you can actually know what you are actually doing it. So that's what very much important in any of the case, right? And control 4 have the wide range of mainly focused on the MDU segment as well. So MDU in this is and multi-dwelling apartments are the products, are the projects. So where you can do the community integrations, like do the intercom from multiple apartments, from main apartments to the control 4 rooms, or maybe the touchscreens to the main door to call, or maybe integrating into the ecosystem of your entire community. So this is actually kind of total offering from your individual homes. And we do have a small range of controllers mainly to focus on these MDU kind of products where it can do a basic integration as well. And we do have the entire whole home products as well. So we do have the entire range on the MDU side as well for the automation. And of course, when it comes to India, so we have worked out with some of the few of the lighting manufacturers as well to have and work on the low cost solutions on these MDU projects, because where it goes the MDU. So the main thing is they wanted automation, but they'll drag you to the lowest on the pricing side, and you really cannot go compete on the product side, which means on the price size with our own solutions on the MDU cases, because it is totally a different things together when it comes to MDU kind of projects, right? So we do integrate with some of the local manufacturers as well. So we can where we'll put our controller, then on top of it we'll put the solutions, and what the customer is getting is customer getting a feel of automation with this of control 4. So where they'll use the control 4 interface, and where they'll use the voice control, where they can intercom, where they can give the option for a flexibility where they can actually do a expansion, which means they can add more devices in future whenever they wanted. So we do have the entire options. Okay, so that's on the MDU side basically. Okay, so this is actually comprises entire introduction mainly. So on the control 4 side, so control 4 allied product side, which means control 4 package and triad. And before we finishing off, a few of the things which I wanted to share. One of the thing is which is control for Indian drivers. Okay, so why control for why Indian? So in generally, if you see, so maybe 3 4 years we are actually not much focused on the Indians, on the drivers and other things. Okay, but when it comes to India, so because we always say I want to integrate with most of the local devices what I have, and also I wanted to have the best control what I wanted to have. So in that case, we have allied with some of the dealers and also the independent driver developers. We do integrate with uh, most of the drivers, and we do develop our own drivers for some of the products like Tata Sky. You can control it from IP, and my guys are working on Airtel and other boxes like Geo, which can be controlled in IP in future. So already the driver development is on progress, and you can actually get a WhatsApp notification on your integration, and you can do a WhatsApp message to your control force system to turn on, turn off. That is very much possible, and but this is all actually the custom driver, which has been focused mainly on the Indian market side, basically. And we do like integrate third-party lighting devices mainly on the Indian side, like Vavis, Toyama, and of course we do integrate with Raylogic and other few of the known lighting brands as well on the local, which means on the Indian integration side. And of course, we do have a Google Drive driver, which means if I have the songs in my Google Drive, I can play my songs. And another thing is, so eKey we can integrate with Control 4, which means the biometric scanner. So they are very much known for that actually. And you can use your touchscreen as a web browser, like you can browse and you can watch YouTube. You can schedule a Uber ride, all those things. And one of the important thing is some of the devices nowadays started coming with this RF remotes, right? So like maybe if you have a Somfy curtains, maybe a fan controls, or maybe some of the TVs or some of the satellite boxes started coming with RF remotes. So we do have a gateway to integrate into the Control 4 platform with that kind of devices. And like we do integrate with the Ecobee on the thermostat side. We do integrate with Sensibo. So what is Sensibo is something like it is IoT based device again. So where you can put this device on your room and you can control your thermostat, which means your AC. And what is the advantage when I'm using this kind of devices? Basically, if I control a split units in your home, you will actually use it as a one-way driver. So you will just turn it on, turn it off, but you will not know whether it is turned it on or turn it off. But we can actually do it via, if you have the Sensibo, this is actually IoT based devices. This can actually know your room temperature, and this can know your room humidity, and it can control the devices. If it is in line of sight, I can actually have kind of two-way control, but it is not actually a two-way control again. But of course, it can actually monitor your home room temperature and other things by itself. And uh, there is a lot of other third-party drivers also which is available, like you can integrate with like feedback from Telegram, or maybe if my home is turned on, turned off, I want to get the feedback, I can actually get it from a Telegram, or maybe a WhatsApp notification. Or we do integrate with some of the commercial products as well. So that is one of the important aspects. So a couple of our dealers were integrating like commercial spaces as well. So we do integrate with like Biamp, or maybe a Polycom, or maybe Cisco video conferencing, other solutions basically. And last but not least, actually there is a beta driver which is already developed and which is on sale. Like, so we do integrate with like a facial recognition devices, not actually a devices. Normally what we do is we use our Control 4 or any cameras which is integrated with Control 4, and we match it with the face recognition tool, and you can actually do a face recognition integration into a Control 4 platform. So that is like a great thing what you can actually do it for any integration platform, right? So the point here is, you have a device, you have the solutions you want to develop. Definitely, we have the team which can be helping you and which can be developed and assisting you on the driver integration as well. So that is actually a great aspect and great development features which is available from our side. So that is what we can actually say. And
to highlight this driver is like, apart from this 15,000 ready-made database drivers what we have in the online database, this is custom built for Indian cases. That's what we are explaining here. But if you really look at it, we have all the drivers for your Roku and Apple TV, or when it comes to lighting, Clips, all Cebus, KNX, Schneider, Lutron, every integration is possible. What we are specifically training you here on what we have written for use cases at this point of time. Thank you. Proceed.
okay, so that's about the drivers. Some of the UI from the driver side. So this is actually a Tata Sky integration driver. So like where you can actually have the entire Tata Sky control. And in control 4, we do have something called navigation gesture. So like I can actually select this one. So this will actually give me a gesture pad. I can actually like right swipe, select, all those things are pretty much possible. It'll give you a plain window to do a navigation. So how you will do with your Samsung TV remote or the other navigation based remotes. The same kind of user experience you can get from your touch screens or maybe your mobile interface as well. So for any of the entertainment based devices. And on the driver side, so we have something called EPG, which is named as Electronic Programming Guide. So this electronic programming guide actually will give you the entire your channel programming features, and you can schedule the program, you can call the program, you can see the synapses of the program, and you can actually give the entire generic language, everything you can actually do. And it also give you a forecast, which means like today evening, what is the program which is gonna come. So I can have the entire list which can be integrated. And this is not only for Tata Sky, we do have this for almost most of the devices. We have the driver and that can work very much better. So I can guarantee you that. So it give you a like a feel that you can actually see what you can actually see from the TV itself. And so the next thing is like mainly for the Indian based music services. So this is one of the snapshots of Music India driver. So what my driver developer has done for integration. So I can select and I can play whatever I wanted. So this will give you entire full wave feedback, like what is selected, what is playing. So and I can have the entire quality which will be coming in. And integrating with your FM stations. So most of the widely used and widely available on online, so it can be integrated, and which is again managed by ourselves on the online hosting and other things. And of course the integrating with thermostats. So this is actually a screenshot of Sensibo thermostat integration, right? And as I was telling you, so you can use your touchscreen as a web browser. So that is actually another thing what you can actually launch it and you can control it. And maybe you can schedule your meetings and other things from the Google or other things, whatever you have as a web browser. Maybe you're scheduling a ride and other things. And on the security side, so one of the thing what I said, so you can actually manage your lock from the control for app itself. That's what I said when we integrate with the Yale lock or maybe August lock. So where you'll have the manage lock option, where you can actually add the user and you can see the user and you can check the history. So this is actually for customers to check when the person has opened. So who has opened, and you can do a restriction action, restricted access as well, like when they can enter. Maybe for example, I have a maid, so she can come only at the morning certain time. So you can actually schedule it. So that's very much easy, yes. Right. And this is actually a BIAM driver what my guy has done. So and then this is actually the EK version. So EK version. So where it can actually read the fingerprints and it can show the entire history. So it can see which finger has opened when. So everything possible, and integration as a two-way. And this is actually a commercial integration of Cisco. So where they can have the entire call history, and you can control the camera, you can share your content. So it's actually a full integration which has been done by our side. And this does not actually need a UI development, but it needs a driver development. So that's what this is actually a Cisco WebEx integration, video conferencing solutions basically. And maybe for a Muslim community, so we have something called prayer times, which can be where they can do a awesome prayer driver, we call it as, so where they can schedule the prayer alarm and other things based on the time, where it can play in multi-room audio from the controller by itself. So this is like a great thing. Like maybe if I have the prayer by 6 o'clock, I can schedule it to pray around by 6 or maybe 5:55. So this can be kind of a spiritual life of enhancing for the customers what they can actually do. Right. So that's actually a full introduction, which means a full story about the control for what is the experience you can have, what are the options you can actually do. And definitely we wanted to do on the product side as well. So we will be sending the links on number of products, which means the product oriented training. And at the same time, we really don't want to overload on the training side. Like we will be having a small 30 to 45 minute session. So we'll be talking about mainly a particular range of products. and but we wanted to have multiple cases, which means multiple sessions, so that we are actually clear on what we are and what we are actually covering. So we want to do everyone. So I can do the same thing on entire whole day by one day, but the problem is whether how much we understood or how much we are actually taking into our head. So definitely, so I'm not gonna do it more than an hour on the product side as well. So we'll be talking about the products and what it can do and how we can do. And of course, I'm working with Suman to have a basic introduction of the software as well. So because uh, I can talk a lot many things, right? So I can say this can do, that can do, but immediately you'll say whether you're gonna really do it all these things or it is really easy to do certain things. Okay, so I was speaking to Suman that we can schedule some day so that I can show what is control for composer is, what is the software is, and how easy to do a basic projects. So I maybe a small one room project, how fast I can do it. So once the physical installation done. So we are working on certain things. Okay, definitely we will keep you posted. And before we closing, so main thing on the Snap AV and Control 4. So most of us actually already known. So Control 4 is merged with Snap AV. So now we are actually Snap AV Control 4 company. And why we merged with the Snap AV and why a Control 4 as a company, we are doing good, right? So we said this is what the projection is, this is what we are achieved it. So everything going good for the entire world on the Control 4 side. So why we merged with the Snap AV as a company? So this company, they have actually more solutions, not the automation solutions, but actually the allied solutions. So I was telling you, so we have more number of dealers. Most of the Control 4 dealers in the US are actually the Snap AV dealers as well. And also these guys, what all they do sell, so they have actually came up in 2005, and they have a lot of new and great things, great developments what they have done. So like we have backpack, they have something similar like backpack, a remote monitoring tool. And we have Triad as a speaker, so they have Episode as a speaker, and they have a networking company, they have a rack products, cables, connectors, so small things which can actually go into a project. But most of the times when it comes to automation, so even as a installer, some of the people will say that whether I'm going to get something here, or whether I'm going to integrate with that, or whether I'm going to get that cable here. Okay, so that is kind of stopping point for someone to think about it. So these guys had all those aspects and even the power management, all those things which is actually they have. So these guys were actually founded in 2005. So they have the entire range of solutions. So they have like a lot of shipping options like overground, over. So in US they are widely spread and very much known like Amazon for home automation. So that's how Snap AV into the US market. So people always refer us like Amazon for automation. So they have the entire product range. So they do have the exclusive distribution for some of the known brands like Yamaha or Clear One or maybe the Clip speakers, some of the wide brands. Okay, so but what actually they are gonna do for Control 4, like what they're actually gonna do it for India or maybe our region. So what we are actually doing is we are actually doing a market study. So what all the brands, what all the products which is going to be a demand into our region. So we are gonna slowly pulling up each and everything, and we are gonna ensure that it is reaching, and we are gonna make it to each and every dealer on all these products. So that is what about the Snap AV is. So that is what how the Snap AV is going to be in India. So again, it won't going to be on the dealer side, dealer networks, and we are going to integrate, we are going to launch it whatever the products we have on Snap AV side which is not widely used, and how competitive it is. Okay, so definitely not like I'm going to launch it everything of Snap AV into Control 4. So we have actually merged about 6 to 8 months now. So till now we have just released only the cameras and the video over IP solutions. We are working on other solutions as well. So we really don't want to do like push it everything. So we don't want to do that. So we wanted to find the opportunity what is actually suited for our region and our market. So that's how we are going to pull into our market. So that is what it is all about. Okay, so on the product side, what are the products they have? So they have the racks, mounts, and particularly so on the racks and mounts, like uh, so even as an automation guy, I have not imagined I'll be talking about the racks and the other things, but so these are actually the important solutions which can be used in your any daily projects, right? So sometimes you may struggle to get the rack mounts or maybe the TV mounts or maybe the back boxes. And these guys have the entire solutions for that. And when it comes to a Samsung, so Samsung actually released a Connect One Connect recently, so where they don't have the really black box to install in any of the US market. So when it comes to, so they actually developed, particularly partnered with Samsung and done something on the US market. So there is a lot of things they do on the racks and other things. And of course, we have WirePath. It's actually all our brand names. As a cables and other accessories companies, and media over IP, which means IP solutions, IP over AV over IP. Definitely, we are going to talk about AV over IP in one of the sessions. Actually, that was one of the demand what was someone is asking me to conduct on. Not just about the products on the technology side. So definitely, we are going to do that in the subsequent days. And they do have the outdoor video solutions and the screens and other things. Definitely, we are not talking about that on much. Definitely, but media over IP is already there in our, which means already we have launched it. So that is one of the product, and they do have the commercial solutions like for video conferencing, microphones, and other things. They do have their own networking solutions. So I talked about package. Then they have something called Arachnes. So what will going to happen with this networking product? So definitely we are gonna have both of the brands, and they are good at what at certain points. So package is good at certain points. So we will talk about when we talk about the networking as well. So this is also going to be launching very much soon. And they do have the speakers, which is of episode. So recently they have released something called episode signature series of speakers. We are going to release only the signature series of the speakers. Other than that, we'll be dealing with the triad. So the signature series is it's kind of easy to install, and it's kind of plug and play install. So definitely, so this is also going to be a product case when we talk about more on the products and other things. Uh, on the security, which means on the surveillance side, so we do have a Luma as a camera, which means we have the entire range from 2K 2 MB camera to 8 MP camera, and all the cameras we releasing here as a Starlight cameras, and we do have the entire NVR range. And advantage of this Luma cameras, except the others, what we do is we manage with everything with our own platform. So it is not like your recording is going to China, right? So because when I use VPN or other things, so it means when I access my camera, we always afraid that whether someone is watching my data. Okay, and this can be this is actually managed by managed by SnapAV, our own company. So we call it as a oversee management tool, which is actually a software application which is built into your NVRs and the cameras, and its records and everything. And also you can have the security privacy mask, and you can do the recording, enable, disable. So there is a lot of good features which is available in the camera. And also we don't want to go on sell as a security system or maybe a cam CCTV solutions. So this camera we really wanted to be focused on the automation integrated solutions basically. So that's what we really wanted to focus on. And the next thing is power distribution in it. So of course it called as watt box. They have the entire range, and this is actually not going to launching in India for now. So because we have package PDU already, and this will take time to come into India. So advantage is they have the entire range, like because when it comes to PDU, so we have very limited range on the package side, but Wattbox they have like hundreds of PDU itself, like so they have the entire thing, and all this comes with the overseas software built in, which can be managed, controlled, everything by ourselves. And audio streaming, of course, we are not coming into it, so definitely gonna merge with SnapAV, or it gonna be independent brand for some time. So we'll have something which will be going on in future. And visual int is more like a AI specific cameras, so where we'll do the artificial intelligence integration. But we are working on to merge that visual int into Luma camera, so where you can do a face recognition, number plate readings, or tripwire advanced settings, lot many on the more integrated platform. So that's what it's gonna be actually focused on. And so that's the entire product range categories. And of course, there is a OVRC, which is similar to backpack, so the remote monitoring tool. And so of course we're going to talk about when we talk about the networking products and other things in future sessions basically. And so that actually concludes most of our sessions, and some of the reference projects of control 4 basically. So I'm really not going to read all the names in generally, so maybe you can actually go through it. please. Or maybe I'll share you the presentation with the entire set of what all the discussion we are actually doing it today. And Suman, you want to talk about something on the projects?
Let's skip this projects presentation later. So
yeah. So that actually concludes our sessions for today. And really thank you everyone for joining us today. And this is actually, again, I was telling you, so this is actually the first session we are doing as a webinar, and we are open to feedback, and don't hesitate to write it to us, or maybe you have questions, or maybe anything you want to discuss, you can always mail us. And the future sessions, actually, we are planning to conduct on something similar like this, on like on the products, on the networking solutions, on the MIP and surveillance, and maybe on the software run through, and troubleshooting, and all the things. And definitely, we wanted to make it like a practice, maybe even not for this 21 days, maybe even on the future as well. Like we wanted to more connected on the online. So because every time, so we don't actually travel and conduct actual training, but this kind of sessions will really help. And most of our dealers also know what and all we have, but the problem is they'll be not touch based what it needs to be done or what it can done. So this can actually give you an entire brief of what and all we can achieve. And this is actually a introduction solutions. And thank you for all your participations, and all your patience all this time. And because it is more like a one way, and because when you have more people, definitely, so two-way communication on this WebEx is gonna be like a lot of problems. So that is the reason we have actually muted all your presence, but we just take it as a comments, which means like queries and other things. And thank you for all your participations, and thank you. And we will keep connected in future as well. So we will actually send you an invitation, like myself or someone will be sharing you all the details again. And thank you very much.
with the